So hello guys, and welcome to another video. And earlier, Nintendo announced the shutdown of Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. This was an Animal Crossing mobile game that released in 2017, and they actually supported it quite a lot, like up until the past couple years. And it even was supported longer than Animal Crossing New Horizons, which was a little disappointing considering that this is a mobile game. But it was kind of crazy that it was supported for so long. I think it was fairly popular from what I've heard. There were a lot of people who have played it, which is why they've been supporting it this long. But they are shutting it down now. It probably isn't doing quite as well as it did a few years ago. But they will be doing something different for ending the support of this app. Rather than completely shutting down the servers and making the game unplayable, they will actually make the game playable offline. They're gonna reveal more information about this around October, but from what I've heard, this is gonna be paid, and it's not gonna have any microtransactions once you download the offline version of it, and it will also carry over your existing save data. I think this is definitely the best case scenario when it comes to Nintendo ending the support for a mobile game. Because people can, like, continue to play the game, it will continue to be preserved, and they don't have to keep, like, updating it and supporting it and everything. It just makes a lot more sense to do this rather than completely pulling the plug and making the game effectively lost media once the shutdown occurs. So I think there's a possibility that they've actually learned their lesson. Because Nintendo has made the mistake in the past of completely shutting down certain games. And this happened with Miitomo originally, which was more of an app than a game. It was kind of like a little Wii-themed thing. But that was shut down a few years ago, I think around 2018. Then Dr. Mario World, which released in 2019, got shut down only a few years later in 2021, so it wasn't really around that long. That one was kind of crazy that it wasn't around that long, because it was actually pretty fun, and it actually introduced some new mechanics for Dr. Mario and had like a lot of content in it. And then there was Dragalia Lost, a game that had its own fan base behind it, and was actually like a full RPG that had like a lot of content and interesting things in it, and even had like crossovers with games like Fire Emblem and Persona 5. So it was a fairly popular game, but it was shut down just a couple years ago, and it's completely inaccessible now. And with some of these games, like, aside from Dragalia Lost, I'm not sure how popular it was. I know it kind of was, like, a pretty niche fan base. But some people are making the argument with games like Dr. Mario World that they were shut down and they didn't have any alternative for it because they weren't very popular. But that's not really any excuse for shutting the game down completely, because I feel like there is definitely still value in preserving any game. So it definitely wasn't justified to completely shut down Dr. Mario World. But since then, like I've mentioned, I think it's possible that they actually have learned their lesson, since there was quite a lot of backlash behind both Dragalia Lost and Dr. Mario World, especially Dragalia Lost, because there was really no reason why that game should have been shut down or why that game should have required internet or data access in the first place. That is basically, they were basically just setting up that game to be like lost later on. I guess Dragalia Lost is lost now because of all of that, but yeah, it really wasn't a good practice of like having the mobile games be completely inaccessible when there could be like compensation made for these. And another example of like backlash of a Nintendo game that was completely shut down and inaccessible is actually not a mobile game. It is Super Mario Bros. 35. Most of you probably know about this one since this was kind of baked into the Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary, and it was another limited time game that was only available for 6 months and was completely shut down after that. And one, it was already weird for that game that it was like only 6 months long. Like they really should have supported it for like 4 or 5 years at least. But at the same time, they did have like a practice mode where the gameplay of Super Mario Bros. 35 at least could have been preserved, and they could have preserved it through like CPUs and different things like that, or local play. They should have at least had something like that to basically preserve the gameplay experience of it. But with this, with the Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, with the fact that they're updating the app to work offline and to remove the microtransactions, it seems like this is actually a step forward for them, and it actually seems like they're now gonna think about having some kind of alternative for people to play these games after they're shut down or like ending support. So I think this is definitely a great alternative, and I really hope they continue to do this with more games. Because there are a lot more games where they could do this for, like especially with mobile games. Mario Kart Tour is definitely the next plausible one to do it for. Since Mario Kart Tour had quite a lot of content. I know there aren't that many stages in the game that weren't ported over to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but there are also the remixed versions of the stages and a lot of exclusive characters in various things, and also the battle courses as well that would be lost if Mario Kart Tour is shut down. So I feel like there really needs to be some kind of way to preserve it, even though some of the content was preserved in 8 Deluxe. I feel like with Mario Kart Tour, they might have to charge a little bit for it, since there is a lot of content in the game that would be accessed. But Nintendo already has made like quite a lot of money with the game, so I feel like they don't have to charge too much for it, because it would be completely offline and they wouldn't really have to keep updating it. So that's definitely a plausible thing they could do with Mario Kart Tour. And another one that's very likely going to get the same treatment as Animal Crossing Pocket Camp is Fire Emblem Heroes, since that is one of Nintendo's most popular mobile games. Like, when you compare them, that's definitely up there. It's definitely made quite a lot of money for them. So, I don't think they're gonna completely throw all of the things that they've done for that game away. Like, Fire Emblem Heroes is probably the most updated Nintendo mobile game. Like, there are like monthly updates for the game, there are like various things that even the main Nintendo Twitter account retweets sometimes. Like, it's definitely pretty popular, and it definitely has a fan base behind it. So I feel like they probably would give that game the same treatment as Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. And finally, one more that you might not think would need this, but Super Mario Run technically requires internet or data to be played. But the thing is, with that game, there really wouldn't need to be that much that would have to be changed in order to work offline. Only like certain functions like the friends or the Toad Rally wouldn't work on, like, if you had it offline, but like the campaign, the remix mode, all of the other things in the game would work perfectly fine if the game was offline. And Nintendo was already like, and is still like making people pay for the game. So I don't know why they would completely remove access from this game when people are like paying to like actually like play this and everything. So I feel like they should probably do the same thing with Super Mario Run as well, and I definitely think it's likely, because they are supporting this game. There has been updates recently, like they even updated it to have like Thousand Year Door, Peach Showtime, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD statues in the game, even a Mario Wonder event. They're doing quite a lot with Super Mario Run, despite the fact that it's like nearly 8 years old. So I feel like they probably are going to preserve this game in some way, especially due to the fact that they consider it a mainline Mario game. But yeah, it's great to see that Nintendo is finally learning their lesson when it comes to like preserving mobile games and also preserving games in general that require internet access. So, like I said, I really hope they do this with more games in the future. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Twitter if you want to. Goodbye.